A Strange Silhouette in the Kitchen by Indiana Jones Fan 16. This author is a young adult. This actually happened yesterday morning. I was up bright and early yesterday morning, 5:45 a.m. to be exact, so I can get a head start on spreading much in our gardens. I had to go in the garage to get a pair of gloves lying on top of a box that was resting on top of a railing leading to the stairs. Now, the door to the garage leads right into the kitchen, and there's a window in that door, so you can get a pretty good view from inside where I was standing. I just happened to look out the window and saw what looked like a silhouette standing there, doing absolutely nothing, just standing there. The front facing the front of the door. I wasn't scared at first, but after looking at it for some time, I began to freak me out a little. I went back outside to keep working, but I came back later that day and saw it again. I shut my eyes and opened them again. The figure was standing in exactly the same spot it was standing earlier, just like before, not doing anything, just standing there. I was looking towards the window. I got pretty scared that time. I'm not sure what happened, I'm just saying what I saw. This house is haunted. Everyone knows it. If you haven't read about the monster in the closet, I suggest you do so sometime. I'm 16. I've always been interested in the paranormal. I'd figure I'd enlighten the world about some of the other paranormal experiences in my house. When my mom was pregnant with me, she went to sleep in her mother's room, which is now my room. My grandma was downstairs getting some milk. My mom looked out into the hallway. There wasn't a door, and standing in the middle of the hallway was the Virgin Mary. She looked at my mom and said, "It will be okay." Mom threw a blanket over her head for at least 5 minutes. When she looked back, the Virgin Mary was gone. My mom ran downstairs to tell my grandma. Of course, my grandma brushed it off as nothing. That same night, my grandfather had a really bad seizure. It scared my mom to death. But she remembered the Virgin Mary saying, "It will be okay." Coincidence? I think not. When I was 5 years old, I had a bed in the same room as my mother's. She had woken up randomly in the middle of the night. She looked over to me and sees something leaning over my bed. Thinking it was Grandma, "Mom, what's wrong with Belle?" The figure did not respond. Mom asked again, "Mom, is Belle okay?" The figure turned and looked at my mother. It had no face. One day, after we had moved out, my dad had to go away for a business trip. My mom, my brother, and I went to my grandma's for the rest of the weekend that night. My mom had seen someone peeking into our window, and she got frightened. Anyways, we were all sleeping. My mom was on the couch on the east hall of the living room. I was on the couch on the north wall. My brother was in his playpen sleeping. Everyone else was upstairs sleeping. I assure you, they were sleeping. I looked out into the kitchen. I saw a very tall, completely blacked out figure walk past the kitchen. It scared me to death. I curled up in a ball under my blankets and shook the whole night. After a while, we moved back into my grandma's house. My brother and I shared a bedroom. This is the bedroom that has the monster in the closet. We were going to sleep. He was about 3 years old, and out of nowhere, he says, "Bye!" So I asked him who he's saying bye to. He replies, "The man that was flying around." I got dead serious and told him to shut up and stop joking. He says, "No, sissy, the man with the gun. He was floating up there." And he points to one corner on the ceiling. I called my mom because I was scared. And she came up and we asked him where the man went. He says, "He went up through the roof, but he said he'll be back." In a different room, my brother was sleeping in my mom's bed with her. He was talking to someone and laughing. My mother asked who he's talking to. He says, "The guy right there, Mommy." And my mom says, "The guy, there is no guy there." My brother says, "Yes, so Mommy, he is here." My mom commanded it to go away. Apparently, he left my brother alone. This is all I can think of right now, but if I happen to think of more, I will post it. Hey guys, this is a true ghost story by Tony of Big Joe's Bike Rings. They sell pendants, BigJoe'sBikeRings.com, and they sell like pendants, rings, necklaces, a whole bunch of stuff. And they're the official jeweler of Trailer Park Boys, so check them out. Links in the description, BigJoe'sBikeRings.com. Alright. This is a true ghost story. About 20 years ago, I was in the funeral business, a business where you, surprisingly, seldom encounter a disembodied spirit. It was quite late in the evening and well on to dark when I got a call to pick up the remains of a woman who has passed away at a nursing home in the North County, out of my usual zone, but when they called, we answer. You can't just leave the dearly departed lying there waiting. The calls without incident, in and out. 20 minutes, all bundled up and ready for her last ride. The funeral home was where my passenger needed to go, was even further out of my usual zone, to a home I seldom visited. It was the kind of old thing you find at a funeral home that looked like a residence, but behind it was a large cemetery. The rear entrance, for discreet unloading of the deceased, was along a hedgerow and wound through the cemetery itself. I unlocked the door and entered the security code, noted the alarm was off, and retrieved my customer from the back of the meat wagon. As I wheeled her in the corner of my eye, I saw an elderly gentleman sitting at the table where you sign in the bodies. He was stiff, upright, and sitting very, very still, wearing a brown suit and a trim-cut mustache and haircut. Dapper were he not so eerie. He didn't speak, and neither did I. I had a sense that he was not of this world any longer. I hastened about my task. Entering the large cooler where the bodies were stored, I found an empty shelf and deposited my fare upon it, and looking just below her, I saw an arm in a brown suit sleeve. As I peered closer, a wave of realization had swept over me. It was the same fellow sitting at the table. He didn't understand that he was dead. Swallowing deeply, I gathered my wits and stepped out of the cooler, and sure enough, there he was, sitting still as though waiting for something or someone. I cleared my throat, and he turned his head softly. I said, "Are you in there?" Sinking my head towards the cooler. He looked in my eyes and sighed deeply, and then slowly, over the course of several seconds that seemed like an eternity, he faded, became transparent, and then gone. The room seemed cooler, and I hurried about my paperwork and left quickly. As fate would have it, I got a call back just a week later to the same funeral home, and had the chance to ask about the fellow in the brown suit, and I was told he had passed away while visiting his wife's remains in the attached cemetery. He was sitting, waiting for his daughter to pick him up, and just dropped from a bad heart. This actually happened, and I'll never forget it. So that was a story from Tony by BigJoesBikerRings.com, and go check them out. They have some really good stuff, really good jewelry stuff, pendants, necklaces, rings, and link in the description. See ya.
Hello? Hey Ansley, I have a great story somebody sent me. But I'm gonna have to tell you on the phone here, so. This is from Pennsylvania, and it's a true haunted story. This is from a female's perspective, young female. I am 18 now, but last year I had a best friend that I'd be up at her house all the time. One summer I was up there, and we just got done watching a movie, and we heard scratching on the walls and cupboard doors slamming. I looked at her wide-eyed, like, what the heck is going on? That her house was haunted. A few weeks later, I went back to her house, and we were sitting in the bathroom with a recorder, asking questions. After about 15 minutes, we played the tape back, and you could hear water running, voices, and heavy footsteps on the tiles. Nobody was moving, and there was no running water whatsoever. We made fun and went downstairs. Then I left for the night. The next day, I went up and we were sitting on the couch when I felt something very cold sitting on my lap. I looked at my friend, and she felt me, and I was severely cold. Now mind you, it was summer out. She went upstairs to go to the bathroom, and I was downstairs when I felt hands wrap around my neck and begin to squeeze my neck. When my friend came downstairs again, I told her I had to leave right now. I went home and was curled up on my bed with one of my statue horses I have on my dresser came flying at me, and I realized I was followed. I got up off the bed and heard a growl, and it faded to a hiss. I ran downstairs and wrapped my arms around my mom and told her what happened and that I was scared. We told it to leave in the name of Jesus Christ, and you could hear it growl louder, and it began to hiss as it faded away. I went up to my friend's house after that again, and I heard laughter. She looked at me and said, "I'm scared." I asked why. Apparently her mom's door, which is always locked from the outside that nobody but her mom can reach, was wide open. Pretty soon we were sitting on the couch when we heard her call our names. So we went upstairs to see what she needed, and halfway up the steps I remembered her mom wasn't even home. We turned around to go back downstairs, and I was walking down. I felt something grab my ankle and pull, and I slid the rest of the way down the steps. I'm 18. I do believe in demons and ghosts. I do not get scared easily, but this event had me sleeping with the light on, and I had to repeat Psalm 23 just so I could sleep at night. We moved a little while ago, and I haven't noticed anything except I feel watched. This event still has me thinking about what is actually out there, because I didn't ever fully believe until that night. I know, this is hard to believe, but it's true. I've gotten pictures taken of me at that house, and you could see a black shadow with his hands around my neck. This is a very real, true story. I think we should take a look at this, Ansley. Alright, I'll see you when I get home, buddy.